Thank you for inviting me for pulpit duties. I'm thrilled and honored. I'm hoping our Rev. Jean is having a wonderful time, although it's education right now before her real break. And I also wanted to mention that this is our last online service until August, when hopefully we're outside and the weather behaves, so we can be outside. So we will center ourselves for worship with Don't Be Afraid.
Don't be afraid, my love is stronger than your fear. Don't be afraid, my love is stronger, and I promised to be always near. Don't be afraid, my love is stronger. My love is stronger than your fear. Don't be afraid, my love is stronger, and I promise to be always near.
Beautiful. So our call to worship is responsive. Our world compels us to cry out to God.
How long, O Lord, how long?
How long must we feel abandoned, forgotten, alone?
Consider us, God. Give light to our eyes.
In the midst of our trials, we must trust in your steadfast love.
Our hearts rejoice at God's salvation.
Listen to the Lord, O God, has dealt with us bountifully with us.
Let us praise and worship the Lord our God. How lovely, God, how lovely is your abiding place. My soul is longing, fainting, to feast upon your grace. The sparrow finds a shelter, a place to build her nest, and so your temple calls us within its walls to rest. In your blessed ones to worship, O God, a single day is better than 1,000 if I from you should stray. I'd rather keep the entrance and claim you as my Lord than revel in the riches of ways the sin afford. A sun and shield forever are you, O God Most High. You shower us with blessings, no good will you deny. The saints your grace receiving, from strength to strength shall go, and from their life shall
which is said in unison. Loving God,
even in the midst of our loudest laments, we know you incline your ear to us. Hear us now as we offer all our emotions to you during this time of worship. Receive our laughter, our sorrow, our hopes, and our fears, O God, for we offer them to you with humility and thanksgiving.
Amen. And this is the part where we talk about thoughts to ponder, and I found this lovely poem by Katie M. Elliott. Back in 2017 it was published. How am I supposed to trust you when you feel so far away? How can I grow closer to you when it is here I am forced to stay? You gave me so many promises, and none of them came true. I'm still knocking on the door and asking and seeking for you. I thought it was your desire to fill me with living water, yet I'm still stuck in the mire and thirsting for you, my Father. It has been a whole year, O Lord, and I cannot hear your word. I have this terrible growing fear that you will leave me here. God, my faith is so thin. My spirit is completely dry. I don't know how all this fits in, and I don't understand the reason why. I hate feeling separated from you and this frustration in my heart. I do not know what to do or where to even start. Is all my seeking in vain? Am I too confused to find you? The only thing I find is pain and confusion over what I should do. Ask and you will receive, you said. Seek and you will find. Lord, all I want is you, my friend, and peace within my mind. My hand is sore from knocking, and my voice from pleading at the door. My entire world is rocking, and yet you continue to ignore. Frustration is all I feel inside, and I'm losing sight of you. I want your guidance in my life. Please tell me what to do. Lord, I am tired. Don't you care? I'm ready to give up. This searching is more than I can bear. All of this is too much. I cannot take a single step without you guiding me. I have no idea what to do next. Oh God, please do not leave. Now the hymn, When All Your Mercies, Oh My God.
Today's scripture is Psalm 13. How long, O Lord, will you forget me forever? long will you hide your face from me? How long must I bear pain in my soul and have sorrow in my heart all day long? How long shall my enemy be exalted over me? Consider and answer me, O Lord my God. Give light to my eyes, or I will sleep the sleep of death. And my enemy will say, I have prevailed. My foes will rejoice because I am shaken. But I trusted in your steadfast love. My heart shall rejoice in your salvation. I will sing to the Lord, because he has dealt bountifully with me.
Today's reading, as he said, is Psalm 13, and although it's a really short psalm, it can be divided into 3 sections. The question of anxiety, that's verse 1 and 2. The cry of prayer, that's the middle part, verses 3 and 4. And the song of faith, verses 5 and 6. This pattern is pretty common among many of the Psalms and even some of the chapters of the book of Lamentations. The author's feeling quite forsaken, asking God, why? Why have I been forsaken? Then the author turns to prayer, and by the end, the author's remembering his faith. Faith that all is how it should be. I'll bet most of us at St. Andrew's, at least sometimes, have those prayers, and I'll bet many Christians do. We start a prayer off by feeling forgotten, because something's happened, something that we never expected to happen. And then we dive into prayer about it, and finish our prayer with praise and thanks. We also have prayers that aren't particularly personal, because it's an issue that isn't a problem of our own, but it's someone else's problem, and we feel someone's forsaken someone else, or a bunch of someone else's. I kind of feel that way about this whole coronavirus thing. My prayers these days are for those affected and affected by the virus. I don't personally know anyone with the virus, that's to say personally affected by it, but each and every one of us is affected by what's happened and is happening. So as I'm praying, I realize there's so many different ways we're reacting to everything, but I also realize there's so many ways that we could have mitigated the problem, if only for ourselves or our families, by just banding together. There's a great meme on Facebook that you may have seen that shows Jesus sitting on a park bench next to a fellow, and the fellow says, Jesus, how could you allow this to happen? Now, truthfully, that this could be anything, but let's say it's the coronavirus. Jesus says back to him, I was going to ask you the same thing. Yikes. Well, ain't that the truth? And every step of the way, had someone done something differently, that would have impacted how it played out. I know that there are conflicting stories on the true origin of this virus, but no matter how it started, handling it differently would have impacted that affect and effect on the entire world. I have to confess that I feel truly blessed. There have been so few cases here in Northumberland County, and I believe that that's because we're working together apart, as we say, to make our county as safe as possible. And for that, I'm feeling very blessed and very, very grateful. So I never want to forget my thankfulness in my prayers. So let's go back to the psalm for a minute. It begins with two verses, each having 2 sentences. And every one of those 4 sentences begins with, how long, O Lord? All lamenting our Lord not helping us. Right now, we could probably update it to say, how long, O Lord, will this pandemic go on forever? The second of the 3 parts begins with, consider and answer me, O Lord my God. And I could certainly apply that to the coronavirus as well. And then perhaps follow it up with, give death to this virus, for the world will surely perish. And the third and final part ends with, but I trusted in your steadfast love. My heart shall rejoice in your salvation. I will sing to the Lord, because he has dealt bountifully with me. Well, I think the only part I'd change in that is I might change the me to us, saying, because he's dealt bountifully with us. This pandemic is very frustrating for so many of us, but God will prevail as we behave in a way that he would be proud of. And we're seeing a lot of that. The pandemic has brought out the worst in people, but in a lot of people, it's actually brought out the best in them. We're helping each other in ways that we never thought we would before. From a church standpoint, we've discovered that more people have watched the videos of church services than show up on a Sunday. Who saw that coming? Perhaps each of us has been guided to reach out in a different way that we had not needed to or even thought of before. Remember, Jesus didn't ask us to build a church, he asked us to be the church. And we're getting that opportunity in new and different ways. We're learning so much about reaching out to people without having to sit next to them. In this world we have, where folks are scattered to the four winds even more than they were before, this is something we really needed to learn. I come from a big family. I'm the second oldest of 8 kids, so including my mom and dad, 10 obviously. And my family's a bit spread out across Canada, Ottawa, Napanee, Cobourg, London, Ontario, and even Vancouver. Our tradition had been to get together every Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas as well. This year, of course, we couldn't do that at Easter, so we went on Zoom. Even my 90-year-old dad was on Zoom. Truthfully, it's not quite as satisfying, but we were able to catch up, and it was really great to see everyone. I will confess that it's difficult to see my family and not give them a hug. But we get through this. So now I hope and pray that everyone here and everyone watching the recording of this service is managing okay. Please reach out to someone if you're not okay. We need to help each other. We're in this together apart. And now I have found another lovely poem, Prayer for Pandemic, by Cameron Bellman. May we who are merely inconvenienced remember those whose lives are at stake. May we who have no risk factors remember those who are vulnerable. May we who have the luxury of working from home remember those who choose between preserving their health or making their rent. May we who have the flexibility to care for our children when their schools close remember those who have no options. May we who have to cancel our trips remember those who have no safe place to go. May we who are losing our margin in money in the tumult of the economic market remember those who have no margin at all. May we who settle in for a quarantine at home remember those who have no home. As fear grips our country and our county, let us choose love. During this time, we cannot physically wrap our arms around each other. Let us find ways to be loving, to be the loving embrace of God to our neighbors. Amen. And now one of my favorite hymns. I'll write that one too.
We want to thank all who have been and continue to be able to support St. Andrews through the pandemic. All that is offered has been gratefully accepted. We give a grateful thanksgiving for all that God has given us. In the upside-down world of the gospel, we measure our wealth by not what we have, but what we can give away. Let us give away generously in this offering to bless our church, your people, and your creation. Amen. Now I'd like everyone to remember in their hearts those who are needing your prayers today, those who are injured, those who are struggling through the pandemic. And we lift our hearts to the yearning of the families who are dying to be together again, and lift up any families facing grief as we say the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Now, forth in your name, O Christ. Thank you, everyone. These are our closing words. We go from here renewed and refreshed, eager to be in God's presence in the world now and always. The service has ended. Your service has begun. Go with God, go with blessings, go in peace, go in joy. Go with love, and go with an attitude of gratitude.